Oh snap, no music. Oh boy. This is the part normally where you would hear the fly beats by DJ Pooh, aka DJ Brixx, but I didn't really come prepared. I came here with, well, I felt like I just kind of had to do a little kind of a live because I didn't want what was left from earlier today to be the last thing that is left up. So I'm going to do as I do and dig right in. First and foremost, though, thank you to the immense support and everybody that's just been checking up on me, my well-being, and all that. Thank you kindly. And by the way, I guess as a matter of personal record, this is the second day that I've been able to take one small dose of Suboxone in the morning. Okay, so I have not completely abstained like that other time, the cold turkey thing. They say, or I was told, 36 hours is how much time has to pass before you really go into full-blown withdrawal. That I haven't reached that point yet, and I don't believe I'd want to go through that. What's up, P. Martin? Hello. This time, I'm going to keep my eyes on the prize and be on the lookout for the chat. So thank you for everybody that was like, oh my God, hold up, man, hold up. My voice may sound a little, but so yeah, I am weaning down. I'm weaning down, and then I'm going to look into something that I'm aware that people that get kind of stuck on barbiturates or benzos, which is called water titration, but I don't know how that would work with a Suboxone tab, because once you wet that thing, it's destroyed. But water titration is where, let's say you're on a benzo like Xanax, you could actually control the dosage a lot better by letting the pill soak and kind of allowing yourself to take small increments, doses, and it's a much more safe way to get off of a highly addictive controlled substance. That being said, I did the little short to give everybody an update about my friend, the veteran who served in Desert Storm, and his quote was, "the first one." When he says the first one, I assume that he is referring to a conflict in Iraq, and I don't know if he confuses me for being as young as he thinks, or I'm aware Desert Storm happened here, and then Operation, what was it, Iraqi Freedom or something, happened over here. But regardless, he did send me a text early this morning. I did awaken to it last night, 9:30 when I got home, or when I was heading home. He was not taking my calls or my text messages. I had let him know, let me know if you can, so I can. I did call a couple of other friends that are veterans, but specifically this individual, my friend Eduardo, his first name is okay. I wanted you guys to meet him because he's a very special individual and a very good friend, and one of the hardest working people I've ever met. The dude's hands are so calloused, you can tell he's been working his ass off for a lifetime and served his country. He always wants to take me out hunting. He always wants me to take a 6-hour road trip to his land where he's got acres and acres, and I think he and his girlfriend will be moving soon. He's got fully grown kids. He's got a beautiful life, and unfortunately, just the timing was, wow, man. I felt kind of twisted that, I had expressed like, yo, man, I kind of hyped it up that you were going to be around. And then his text reads as follows. Let me see. What's up, Barb? And DC Irish. What's good, fam? It is good to see you guys. Truly, you have been the home away from home while I'm at home. Let me check the text message that he sent. And I think he tried to call after I responded. Eli, when I walked in my house last night, I had the worst phone call of my life. My brother passed by the English, and he's a little older, but so I'm going to read it as it is. My brother passed by the same time I was talking to you. Sorry, bro, I'm devastated. I said, oh my God, man, I'm so sorry. So, yep, that's quite all right. Oh, snap. P. Martin, well, thank you for your service, sir. Desert Storm 1990. That's one of those conflicts that I hear quite a bit about. And I am at least able to remember when I was younger and it would come on TV. It wasn't widely covered like what we are all familiar with now, like when CNN was throwing people into Iraq and what was it? Why do I want to say Fallujah, which is not in Iraq? Whatever the case, that new form of embedded journalism. Oh, fantastic to get notifications about other individuals. So yeah, no, I don't know. That I remember that very unique time in our world where we got to see. I think that was us really wanting justice. 9/11 had occurred, and soon after we were watching war on our television screens, and that was the beginning of some like new wave kind of, not new wave, but new journalism. And I think I remember at that time, forget what age I was roughly, but I know I was watching and hoping like something crazy would happen. And yeah, I don't think much has changed with that. So anyway, my heart, our hearts, I've expressed my condolences to my boy Ed. And he will be reaching me on his own leisure and time. He has nothing but my support. So with that being said, though, I did take some time to watch. Let me flip this and play. I am very, very disconcerted. I'm completely devastated about the final. I mean, it's old news, but the sentencing that's been handed to that scumbag, the monster, the creature. I don't want to even say his name. It's the families and the victims. I feel a lot of us, or in general, people, humanity, we fixate on the people, the perpetrators of the tragedies, and not so much of the people it impacts the most. That breaks my heart. So I'm going to try to represent the exact part of the change I'd hope to see in everyday life and share some of the most, they're all powerful. I watched every single family's victim impact statement. I watched the once girlfriend of one of the victims, Joaquin, very, very, with all of her strength, get up and speak directly to the monster, and she ended it with an eloquent, fuck you. So yeah, this guy, might recognize him. I didn't see this part 1. I didn't know it was broken up into 2, but he was certainly the loudest, and he made some very eloquent points. And I do not believe justice was served. I think we really dropped the ball. And why bother having capital punishment if when it is absolutely necessary? Somebody unalives 17 people and he gets to live the rest of his days? Commissary, he has a girlfriend, he has new adoptive parents. People have tried to profiteer with his brother to make some sort of reality show. People were already approaching the monster about a movie rights. So they did enact something akin to the Son of Sam law, which is ensuring that the monster gets no monetary gain from his heinous actions. At least that is something. And his commissary, some of his the monies that are given to him, donated to him, the fan mail, all the money that's getting to him because of this law, some of them is a percentage of it is being garnished and being handed to the victims and the families. So, all right, let me shut the F up for a moment and let's hear the man out.
Is never coming home, and he was taken from us in such a horrible, horrible manner. The other very upsetting part of the victim impact statement was the restrictions that were placed on our statement. We were prohibited from talking about the murderer, the crime, and the punishment.
This was before that absolutely beautiful, brave mother called this scumbag out for hiding his emotions and his shame behind that stupid mask at this point. What is really that the court should have put their foot down and said, take that thing off. You don't get to hide. This is your time to get all that exposure you ever wanted, right? This is what you wanted. No, I'm sorry. The video that's still available has you quoting, I quote, I want to get at least 20 with the designated weapon of choice.
That he deserves. We wanted that creature to receive. To add insult to injury, the Florida state law instructed you to tell the jury to completely disregard everything that we had just said. It's not right. And I will...
Let me know if everybody's good in the family, okay? I see there might be some talk. Just keep me in the loop. What's up, Fetty? It's always good to see you, brother. JK, I don't think I recognize the name. So yeah, all right. What's up, Shade, my brother? Here we go. All right.
Work to fix this injustice for the next family. Both juror Melody Vinoy and Mr. Johnson said that the law failed the families, and I agree with them. I just rewatched the defense's closing argument. And
the defense have been utter monsters. I don't know how much time you guys have given to watch this debacle, this circus unfold. And every time they try to call a mistrial, like the monster himself, as innocent as he tries to portray himself, even though he's the most guilty individual possible, given the circumstances, tried to, like, underhandedly get as many mistrials as possible, trying to put off the justice that he so righteously earned, but still gets to elude. And that's a sickness. That's a part of our whole society and system that I am convinced just does not serve us, which is why justice for just us is something I'm going to get tattooed on me somewhere. I don't care who thinks that's stupid. I live by that now.
One thing that really stuck out at me was their insistence that the jury that the murder had slipped through the cracks. The defense knows that that is a lie. They know Sheriff Bob Galtieri, the chair of the MSD Commission, had said that he had never seen an individual that has received more mental health services than the Parkland murderer. But in closing arguments, you reiterated over and over again that he didn't get the proper services throughout his childhood. Let's look at the facts and see if that was actually true.
I applaud every bit of homework he did to cite exactly how often these red flags came up and how much treatment he did get and receive. So this whole excuse, oh, the system failed him, it's a clever tagline. It's a headline. It's a fluff piece. Okay? Sure, things that could have helped prevent this, well, in hindsight, being 100% in 2020, we could all look at any case and say, oh, we could have done something different here, there, and whatnot. But here, let this man articulate every area that this kid, well, he's this man-child monster was receiving attention.
Dr. Kravitz, his psychologist when he was 8 years old, spent 15 sessions with him over 13 months. Then from 2005 to 2007, at Coral Springs Elementary, he received direct language therapy multiple times per week and family counseling weekly. Kara Dad Harvey, another witness that testified, a mental health counselor from Henderson Behavioral Health, spent 7...
I went to Henderson when my mental health and addiction was a bit out of sorts and out of control. Henderson was a fantastic place where they have doctors and students studying to be doctors, all helping you at the same time. So he had Henderson.
Sessions with him from 2009 through December of that year. And in 2011, he received more direct language therapy once a week and counseling once a week. At Westglades, he received ESE services for academics and social development, with more pull-out language therapy and counseling. Dr. Karp, his second psychiatrist, treated for him for the next 3.5 years. And she had him on multiple medications, from Strattera to Focalin to Resveratrol. But then former public defender Howard Finkelstein of Broward County said that Quote, "We let one of our children fall off the grid." That wasn't true. This individual didn't fall off the grid. He was the grid. He was getting every service that they offered. Services continued.
I wasn't aware of that quote from the Broward County individual. So he was also absorbing that headline. What does it do? Does it make him look better as a public figure? I don't know how I feel about that. If he's trying to give an honest critique that the system could have done better, I suppose, but that helps the defense, you know?
Camelot conducted 27 home visits between 2013 and 2014. Then he received more services from Henderson. From their time with him, they turned over 700 pages for this trial. 700 pages of therapy sessions. He received weekly therapy sessions between
Okay, he has officially gotten more help than I ever did.
2014 and 2015. That totaled hundreds
up,
of
Sean?
hours of therapy.
That's what I'm talking about, Fetty, dude. And now, like, even though they're going to be taking some of his commissary, and I understand also P. Martin saying, Florida prison ain't going to treat him well. I am pretty confident about that, I hope, but this little puke also is afforded extra protection because I don't know if he's still high risk, and I'm only really speculating, but I remember the court was more than pleased to reveal that he was talking smack about the corrections officers, but we don't know where he's going to get sent. And I don't know, man, these institutions, they don't want high-profile people to get got. So I hope his experience is excruciating. I hope prison justice does something better than the justice that we're all paying for and never get. So I remain optimistic and pessimistic in terms of true justice. I mean, we're not going to get our true justice. I hope he gets his. That's all I can say. Just knowing that he has a new girlfriend, a fan club, fan mail, they should be burning that crap immediately. Not letting him feel good about any of this. And drawing on the wall with his freaking Cheetos and his blood. Apparently, by the way, this is going to be a little grotesque. The blood that he had used to draw the pentagram that I shared before, I heard that was hemorrhoid blood. Yeah, okay. Saying it lower doesn't help anything. Yeah, hemorrhoid blood.
Does it sound like somebody that fell off the grid? Finkelstein?
What's up, Keeks?
Jessica Flournoy testified from Westglades Middle School. She was the admissions counselor in 2015. She said he was in group sessions for 2.5 months, and then they moved him to individual sessions. During the 2014-15 school year, when he was in 9th grade, he made a lot of progress, we heard, with therapy at home and in school. And he only had 2 absences that year and a GPA of 3.14. A parent advocate...
Wow, that to me disproves the fetal alcohol syndrome nonsense and his all battered life thing with his family, because that was the biggest thing the defense used to make sure this kid did not get the needle. And this man, in just a matter of a minute, totally threw that down and shut it down. I didn't know anything about he had a 3.0 GPA, had all this therapy at home and at school. He had a whole support system. So this man just single-handedly just bitch-smacked the entire defense, and it took him 4 months, really? Jesus, H. Then one juror. One juror is the reason this kid gets to breathe.
Then also met with Linda an additional 47 times. During the 15-16 school year when he was in grade 10, he received language therapy again once a week and counseling once a week. In addition, he was receiving counseling provided not only by the school but also by Henderson. Then Dr. Nagin, his next psychiatrist, treated him for the next 5 years up until right before the shooting. But Gordon Weeks, the chief Broward public defender, said he fell off the cracks. But we have to save him now. The defense in their closing argument said that if he had just had the proper diagnosis, that things would have been different. Really?
What would have changed? Okay, yeah, see, I'm right there with them. we're in sync in our thinking, what would have changed with a diagnosis? This kid was getting treatment and help in all forms. 3 different medications have been listed. What's left?
How? His therapists were treating his behavior and his symptoms. Nothing would have changed. Would they have changed his medicine? No.
The lawyer that flipped the bird at the judge is not seated, I noticed. Mr. Weeks, the defense attorney that made it about his kids and not the families, that was a huge mistake. He's not seated right now, I see. This woman, definitely somebody to remember. She was grotesque. She was grotesque and should have been held in contempt throughout the entire duration of this trial as far as I'm concerned.
He was on medicine after medicine over the 15 years. He's on medicine now, and he still wants to kill.
And he's quoting actual material found in the monster's cell. He has his short stories and illustrations of him reliving the crime and threatening other people and trying to place the blame on some poor traumatized girl that went to high school, saying, because you humiliated me on Instagram and rejected me, I did this. Their blood is on your hands. That's a paraphrased quote. Disgusting. Disgusting.
He said he needed to be properly diagnosed so that he could receive the proper programs and services and accommodations and interventions. He got all of those. Altogether, he had well over 200 individual sessions with mental health professionals. Does that sound like somebody that fell off the grid?
That's more attention than I've ever gotten in my 38 years of living. And, having my own struggles with mental illness, depression, anxiety, and all that. That was about 10 years worth. And this kid got far more attention, and he was still a teenager. Now he's a man, and still, for some reason, gets to breathe another day. For now.
They tried everything. They couldn't have given him more services. Over the course of his life, starting at a very young age, he received more than most kids in America will
Hey,
ever
Queen.
receive. It's irresponsible for you to make a statement that is an outright lie. You're making the mental health crisis in America worse by misrepresenting what actually happened to the Parkland murderer, just so you can receive fame and notoriety and go on a book tour?
What?
There are so many people that really need...
He looked right at... I'm assuming it's going to be the woman that was the most outlandish, the one that made it a point to be so overtly and obviously disrespectful to the judge and the prosecution. This blonde little shill right here, looking all, stoic right there. A book deal. Oh, man, that makes things, put in perspective. That's where her head was at. That's why it was always about her. That's why she had her little what do you call them? The iPods, the earbuds, while the judge was talking to her and rolling her eyes. But she's still, okay, just now that makes sense why she had such extra behavior. What better material to write a book with?
Mental health services and did not get them. But that's not the case with the Parkland murderer. His psychiatrists, his psychologists, counselors, ESE teachers, all testified to that effect. He was on medication for most of his life. The problem was that he didn't receive, not that he didn't receive services or medication. The problem was that none of it worked. Prior to the trial, I had a lot of hate
Broken monster.
and anger in my heart for his mother. Today is the anniversary of your mommy's death, isn't it? She's the one who bought him his first gun. But after learning more...
Never seen this stuff, so I'm very fascinated right now.
More details of her life living with that animal. During the trial, I understood how much she tried to do for the murderer. There are kids in foster care with no families. Kids in abusive homes. And kids living with drug-addicted parents. But that's not the situation. He lived in a loving home. Linda Cruz loved him and tried to help him for the 18 years she was with him. She continued and she never gave up. She took him to doctor after doctor, tried medication after medication. God only knows how much money she spent. Of course there are going to be breaks. No one can be 100% consistent.
What's up, Jane Gypsy?
For 18 years, especially when nothing seemed to work. Dealing with those two monsters, I'm sure it was emotionally and physically exhausting. But she was pretty consistent between the ages of 3 and 18. When some things aren't working, you stop for a while. And she did, but then she went right back. And she continued all the way up through her death. She never gave up on him.
I was not aware of the amount of effort that his mother, who was only ever made to be a monster, and by the way, my boy Fetty, I'm on OBS, so this is how I'm able to share with StreamYards. I just don't know how to. Veloma has, but I'm receptive to a panel. I don't know. I'm also torn. Storming out there. Part of me wants to go out. Blah blah. But anyway, there is the part 2. This is the one that I got to see. This is where homeboy is turned up at a beyond a 10. And this is the reason, after seeing this, I was like, I got to share it. He says just all the right things that you would expect of a grieving father to say in the face of this disgusting group of people that call themselves the defense. By the way, the defense, are they not state funded? Is that, I don't know. Don't cite me on that. I do not want to be responsible for any misinformation ever again. I need to find out how this little team of attorneys came to be. The state did a great job in prosecuting, though. Fantastic job. All right, so let the man speak.
You're showing your kids on television. You obviously have no conscience. If you don't think that this is the worst of the worst, how could you sit there listening to what he...
What up, Drew? If that's the Drew I think it is, holy snap, bro. It's good to see you, man.
He did. And say this is not the worst...
Fetty, if you're doing something tomorrow, man, get at me, bro. For real, we got to get on a panel. Okay? We got to shoot the shit, brother.
Worst of the worst. He hunted down innocent children and staff, terrified, then tortured them, blew their heads apart like a water balloon, and enjoyed it. That doesn't make it on your worst of the worst murderers list. You make me sick. Another person the defense brought up many times to get the jury to vote for life in prison is Scarlett Lewis, the mother of Sandy Hook victim Jesse Lewis. The defense mentioned several people who supposedly love him, one that wanted to make money off of him through producing a movie about his life.
There we go.
And the other wanted to make money by selling her social emotional learning product. During the trial, we learned that Scarlett Lewis calls the murderer and tells him that she loves him.
Holy snap. Okay, see, this is why sometimes it's wise to watch something 2 or 3 times. I had no idea. This individual, Scarlett Lewis, she was one of the... What the hell was her involvement from Sandy Hook, which was oh man, that's one of the worst tragedies ever. The youngest children that were ever unalived on this kind of a scale. Reprehensible. She called this monster and said that she loves him. And she's also just so happens to be trying to sell some sort of emotional wellness product. Oh, I ain't buying what you selling, lady. I'm so glad that, see, it's so sad often. It's the very victims of the tragedies and the circumstances that when they are finally able to speak, because they can't throughout the trial or mistrial, they say one wrong thing, something gets out, leaks, whatever, something gets skewered, misunderstood, then they get to feel responsible for having this scumbag get the justice that we were hoping for. And now they finally get to speak, and dude's dropping some knowledge, some truth bombs. Everybody was out there trying to profiteer this whole time. I wonder how much of their head was really in the game to see to actual justice. How many people really got to know this creature that we're referring to as some kind of a human, and I guess what, get invested in care and see his potential? What is there to rehabilitate? I'm sorry if this ever comes off cold to anybody that is anti-capital punishment, as I used to be, but if ever there was a damn case for it, this is absolutely one of them. I say, what the hell's the point now? Abolish it. Now our tax dollars are going to go to keep this kid fed and breathing. He's going to go and aspire to whatever he can, keep himself distracted, his magazines, his classes, whatever, a whole new lease on life with his girlfriend. God forbid they ever allow him to get conjugal visits. Now, I'm not saying prison is the frickin' life, but the actions that this monster perpetrated do not deserve any kind of reward or peace of mind. I don't want this kid to evolve. I don't care for him to get wiser and feel sympathy. He shouldn't have the opportunity. He took it away from 17 other human beings.
I hope she knows that after she hangs up that phone, he's laughing at her. He then goes and draws 666 on his cell wall with his hemorrhoid blood and draws pictures of guns and writes how he would like to kill more people and murder more people. Her naivete shows that she is a fool. She should know better after her son was murdered in Sandy Hook. I'm sure she's not watched the trial. But if she did, she would know that his mother loved him very much. He didn't have an abusive home life. There are children out there being tortured and raped and don't receive any love. But this was not the case. The Parkland murderer did have love in his life. He even had a girlfriend. But you can't fix evil. It is such a disservice to people that are struggling with mental illness to use that as a mitigator for what he did. There's so many people in this country that suffer from mental illness. They're not going out torturing and murdering people.
There's no necessary interruptions and commentary. Usually that is done. Most reactors do a lot of pauses because sometimes fair use is not always enough, and if you play too much of the content uninterrupted, you can get the strike. But there's no use for me to add. This man is just speaking straight facts. It's coming right from the heart, right from somebody who's suffering without their child because of this monster. Sometimes you just don't need to add anything.
You mentioned he's got brain damage? Really? Where's his brain damage? In what area?
That's right. The defense tried to rail home this whole, he's brain damaged, fetal alcohol syndrome, the mother drank while she was pregnant with him. But look at all of the life he was able to accomplish with as much help as was possibly available. And he commits this act and suddenly, brain damage, fetal alcohol syndrome. Let's overlook any of the normality he had in life and just make him look out to be the victim when he made the victims.
To say that is insulting to people that really suffer from brain damage. He walks. He talks. He can converse. He can hold a job. He's a better shot than most people. There's no brain damage here. And it's insulting to people that truly have it. He did it all. He held a job all by himself. This murder was well thought out, researched, planned, premeditated.
Methodical.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Blueprints.
Was wrong. He got enjoyment out of it. And watching people suffer. He studied doing this for years. Even long before she passed away. He wanted to do this. He wanted to kill people.
He still does.
This was an act of pure evil. Society tried for almost 2 decades to try to rehabilitate him. He had more mental health treatment than anyone. Henderson was at his house for hours a day.
I never
hours
had.
a day.
In my experience, Henderson, amazing place. I had to always find transportation there. I cannot believe he had that much help that they were visiting his home. So this man is just crumbling everything the defense got to do and the narrative they got to push. And damn it, how did they win? How were they able to get their W? This is going to go down on their resume, and they're going to get to celebrate all the way home, whatever bonuses and restitution comes from this. But let the stain always be there to each of these scumbags that pulled the worst tricks out of every book, especially Mr. Weeks, who is very perfectly not at the table, that tried to make it about his kids. That was the most insulting moment of this entire trial. He yelled at the judge saying, well, Your Honor, if you would have heard the families talking about your kids, I bet you would have heard it. That's when the judge dismissed him. So many, is it just me, or are cases that we're seeing being played just getting more and more like circusy, drastic, hyperbolic, crazy, unprofessional? The whole illusion of a civilized society and system serving us, the people, is really just that. It's political theater. We're just watching the Coliseum. The real, whatever real work is being accomplished, we're not seeing it. Where's representation for the constituency that is we the people?
Right? They tried to get him off his pathway to violence, but nobody was successful. This wasn't somebody that fell through the cracks and you know it, or got lost in the system. They tried, but they could not change his determination to inflict pain upon everything they touched, whether it was animals or human. He is a sociopath that does not deserve to live amongst us. That creature has no redeemable value.
That little stupid gaze, man, it's just the most punchable face in the world. And the fact he gets to hide his expressions behind that mask. It's disrespectful to everybody involved that was invested and appeared there every day to listen to how their children were destroyed. And he gets to just keep this stupid mask on that has been already proven as being completely useless. Careful, YouTube. Do not strike me down. I know there's a tropical storm.
And the other prisoners that you will encounter in your new life will inflict that pain upon you, hopefully 17 times over again, until you're screaming for mercy, just like your victims.
And the needle.
You mentioned that life in prison is punishment for him. He wanted life in prison from the beginning. How's that punishment?
He made it clear in his own videos before he carried out this action. He just wanted to live to see his fame. I don't know what he considers this. It's hard to understand or read a face with a mask and a dead gaze. There's no life in there. There's no soul in there. I just see a pretender, a faker, aware of everything, sulking low in the chair to appear childlike, disheveled hair. I don't know. It's all so calculated. Everything the defense did, how they dressed him, everything. For your sympathy.
He's been fighting the prosecution and the families for the last 5 years because he doesn't want to die. He's scared to die. He had a well-thought-out strategy to wear his school ROTC shirt that day so he could escape with the rest of the kids running for their lives. Punishment is something the individual doesn't want.
If you didn't know, by the way, after he finished his massacre, he went very calmly to a McDonald's after being amongst the kids that were called to, get outside of the school. There was something happening. He went and calmly walked or bicycled to a McDonald's, found some innocent girl there and hit on her relentlessly. He got a McFlurry, and he got insanely upset with this girl, right? And this is right after he unalived 17 kids. Well, 16 and one teacher, I believe. I think there were 2 adults. I don't want to get that wrong. And he got upset with her because she refused to give him a ride. So that's how the police nabbed him, sipping on his McFlurry after a massacre. And they took him down walking home like that. That's what he did. I can't comprehend after doing something like that, so haunting. And when they played the audio of what it sounded like while these kids were being unalived and suffering, he played the whole putting his head down and covering his ears like it's too traumatic to relive. That was an act if ever I've seen one. You didn't fool a damn person.
In prison, he gets to receive phone calls, boxes of fan mail. He gets to fall in love and get married. He gets a tablet to email and text people. He gets to receive visitors. He gets to watch TV, read books, draw, and write about killing again, and even get a college degree. How is that punishment?
Thank you.
He has never had anyone punish him before. He received 77 disciplinary referrals just in middle school alone because he was a menace in the classroom and never had any consequences. How is giving him what he wants, again, punishment? It's not. It's ironic that the anniversary of your mother's
It's like staring into a reptile. All right, the anniversary of your mother. Go ahead.
death is the same day as my birthday. Today's my birthday. Just know, I want you to know, that every November 1st, I will be celebrating my birthday while you are in prison. And every November 1st, I will be blowing out my birthday candles. And you know what my wish will be? That you suffer a painful, violent death. Thank you, Judge.
Well done. Well done. Everything that ever needed to be said or heard by the defense and this sick, twisted mind here was said. I'm looking through the little thumbnails to see if there's any relevant moments. Okay. Here's an interesting tidbit. This was where the woman in this thumbnail here got busted. It's a whole other podcast. She got caught flipping off the judge, and she had to write an email to the families to apologize for her behavior. She was stupid enough to say she was sorry she got caught. She was stupid enough to say she thought the cameras were not rolling. Every aspect about this case and how it failed all of us to set a precedent or a standard that if you commit such an act at such a level, you're going to get you're going to pay the ultimate price. But no, now the message is out there again for people that commit these crimes or are thinking of them. Maybe I'll get to live to see the aftermath, and I'll get a girlfriend. I'll get my degree. I know life ain't fun in prison, but it's far more than any of his victims will ever get to have. They have nothing. They are gone. He took them. He gets to live to see another day. He gets to work to achieve a goal. He gets to try to obtain some level of peace in his own mind, and I'm just not sitting here for it, not going to have it. There's one that's caught my attention, but I haven't viewed it. Let me do one more, because this individual went into the Navy after the fact. Let me hear out briefly. Forgive, I'm sure there's going to be an ad. I will wait for 2 seconds to pass. Okay. Here's a first. This is the only one I have not seen. I've seen everybody else's.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your full name for the record.
That's
My
low.
name is Maria Hickson.
Okay, state.
Ms. Hickson, is there something that you would like to say about Mr. Christopher?
Very, very low. I don't know if this is going to fly.
Okay.
I can't. Let me know once the audio does officially start, if you can hear it adequately. If not, I don't recognize any of the other thumbnails. So I don't know, this is probably going to be the last one, if we can hear it okay.
I've waited 4 years, 8 months, and 18 days to come forward and finally...
Sweet Pea, if ever you are willing to talk about some of those experiences, I am absolutely, you have my full attention. I have a specific fascination with organizations like LDS, Scientology. I'm sorry to loop them together. a part of me feels like I should say for the aesthetic or for the optic, like one's not as bad as the other, but I really don't know if I'd be representing an honest, sincere part of how I feel there.
Address everything that's been churning inside of me for a long time now, and I'm sure every family member here feels the same.
Can you hear it okay?
But I admit that I've been a coward, and I've hid from a lot of this for the last 4 years,
Mask.
8 months, and 18 days. Because for me, I still struggle to this day to fathom. My mind cannot fully grasp how this could ever have happened. Because my story is a little bit different than everyone else's. On February 14th, 2018,
Just a reminder, it was so damn heartbreaking when I went for my 20-year high school reunion not that terribly long ago, and to see, you know, the younger women that were there, some of them wives to my friends with their tattoos, you know, the day of that was just read aloud, and it has Parkland Stoneman Douglas strong, survivor, and the date. Some of them have had the names of the deceased. Some of the stories they told me, not my stories to tell, but it's something to be so close by to such an event and to be able to pass the school. Yeah, it definitely rippled and impacted so many individuals in this area that I'm in.
I was deployed on United States aircraft carrier off the coast of
Thank you,
Iran.
Bean.
On February 14th, due to time change, I flew my usual flight, and I never got the chance to check my email from my husband, as is standard procedure. By the time February 15th came around, and I read his email, I will never forget it. Babe, I'm on the way to the airport, but my dad didn't make it. He's dead. When I finally got the chance to call my husband off the ship.
Okay, daughter-in-law of Parkland victim. Okay.
The first thing I said to him was, did they catch the car? Did they get the guy who got him, who ran him over? I didn't get a chance to read his previous emails that told me what had happened. My husband was at the airport at that time, making his way over to Florida from where he was stationed at the time. And when he told me what had happened, I collapsed to the floor.
I get sicker and sicker the more we shift and look at the monster. Unblinking, unflinching, dead inside, cold.
By the time I made it back to the United States, 4 days later,
Hey, Angie, dear.
I entered my mother-in-law's house, and it's a scene I'll never be able to burn off my brain. That night, when I finally had a moment alone with my husband, and we had the chance to chat,
Jesus.
there's another thing that I will never forget. And the thing that my husband said to me was, I just wish the killer had talked to my dad. I wish he had reached out to him, because my dad would have shown him the love that he so desperately needed. My dad would have given him the guidance and support that every other person failed to give him.
This is like the third victim impact statement that says something along the lines of the life you ended if you would have taken the time to get to know this individual, would have loved you, or would have shown you some level of care. The grace that these people, these families are showing even in their grief is really inspiring. It kind of humbles me to check my own anger and wanting to see, I don't know, there is a part of me that wants to see just us crashing the damn system and making it serve us for once, just again. Or I don't know, did it ever? I'm disenfranchised, I'm disillusioned, two-party system fails us all. I just look to their poise, and I think, you're stronger than I. You're doing something better than I am, that's for sure. I don't know. I can't even fathom being in the position of being in the same room through this kind of circus that went through, and knowing that the verdict offers and gives life to the person that took away a loved one. Putting myself in those shoes makes me feel insane.
And that's exactly who Chris Hickson was. Beyond everything that everyone has said, he would have given the shirt off his back. He was a courageous, loving, and wonderful man. And I never got the chance to tell him that.
This kid doesn't blink.
So I came up here today, not necessarily for me, but for Chris. And not just for Chris, but for all the other victims who deserve to know that they will be remembered. And that unfortunately, I'm not the only service member that has had to go through the loss and murder of a family member in recent years due to the plague like him that are becoming a cancer in our country.
My props to every one of the family members that refused to say his name. They called him, like that lovely woman just called him the plague. Another man said the monster, the creature, subhuman, anything but his name. God, I wish the media would take pointers.
As a service member, I took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And to the defendant, that's exactly what I view you as. A domestic terrorist. And everyone that does these heinous acts like you. Because, again, as I said, as I stood and stared off the coast of Iran and defended everyone in this country through my service, I thought I was the one in danger. But it was my family being slain back home.
We owed so much better to these families. We did. We truly did, especially to any service members. They're fighting abroad and on foreign soil, and they come back, and they have to hear that the system of which they are protecting, that they are serving, they are giving their all for, putting their life on the line, has failed them. That shame on, where do I point the finger? The entire system? I'm at a loss.
I wish no peace for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Nothing but pain. And I hope that every breath you take, you remember that that's a breath you stole. You stole Chris from us. But we will honor his memory every single day. So in a sense, you also gave us at least that gift. There's a lot more I wish I could say, but I can't even look at you right now.
Disgusting piece of trash.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Don't ever think of yourself as a coward. Please, people handle things in different ways. You're a hero, and you have a beautiful family. You all have made such an impression on this court, and I wish you the absolute best. You are very strong, very good people, and you've made a lasting impression on everyone, truly. And I thank you for your service and bravery, and your dad's as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Here, I got a little fun factoid, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I wish I would have compiled some of the clips, but here's some that maybe you'll get I don't know, not a kick out of. I don't know what you'll feel, but so the judge, who I felt was very fair given the nonsense and childish behavior, circus-like behavior from the defense and the defendant, the monster. So I point out the defense is the attorney that flipped the bird and all that. She is being investigated, and they're seeing if she's going to be able to retain, being a lawyer I don't know if I'm using the terminology correct. On the flip side, apparently some people, I'm assuming the very defense that have shown themselves to be disgusting examples of human beings in every sense of the word, have put forth an investigation active on the judge for being biased and too hostile towards the defense. So I guess if you stand up for your own backbone and show some convictions, I understand a judge is supposed to be impartial, and by God, everything that occurred in this courtroom and all the mistakes, and it's still circling back. Can an appeal be filed to see to it that he gets the penalty, the ultimate penalty? But anyway, I hope to learn that this judge keeps her seat because it is being reviewed right now by the other judge that supersedes her to review her conduct throughout the trial and to see if there are grounds for disbarring her, which would just be a damn shame. My heart goes out to the lost ones, the kids, that they're gone, their lives are gone, their memories live on through the families that had the backbone, that had the presence of mind to share their hearts and their everything that they can't possibly articulate, yet they tried, and in front of the person that took it all away from them. My heart's with them, and for the monster, I hope he gets his the sooner the better. I would speak a little more reckless, but I know the kinds of things I want to say will get me something probably beyond a strike. Hi there, June. I guess this is a little bit more short. It was an hour. Well, you all know, and today was an interesting day. I'm definitely feeling a little low energy, and I don't know. We're all going through something, but don't feel bad. Don't worry. I promise. I'm alive, kicking, and I'll be stronger than the day prior. Everything sorts itself out, and we'll see to it that we all hopefully work together to see a better tomorrow. Remember, let the unifiers bring us together. We need them now more than ever. And if you do happen upon a divider, did I see Bare Bones up there? What's up, Bare Bones? I was going to ask a question to the entire family before I go. If you find a divider, do not let it do just that. Let it be the invitation to the conversation we need to have. Only then can we speak truth to power. And now a question I'd like some of you to kind of consider before you answer. How would you feel about me doing some of these reactions, recorded, and then I release it? That doesn't seem like my style. I'm very much a guy that needs to thrive on being live and the energy that's permeating within the chat, and I think that's just kind of my niche. My style is just always live. I couldn't envision. What's up, birthday chat supervisor? Damn it, Justin Roran. I didn't even have your full name there, but I know it by heart. And by the way, you're the president of the United States now, man. So what are you doing here, dude? Appreciate the shout out and everything. But yeah, okay. I think I answered the question for myself, but I'm interested in any feedback. Recording and then editing, or just live and fluid, and whatever mood I'm in, however I'm feeling, that's just going to have to do. And yeah, so, I don't know. I'm open for suggestions, and I'm looking forward to the first individual that comes through on the interviews that I have promised you all. Short of going out on the town with my damn phone and interviewing people that I find, I don't know. I'm not running out of options, but I do want to start expanding. Things will move at their own pace, but I'm impatient. I'm manic. It's just a part of who I am. Please find yourselves in peace tonight. It's storming out there. It can't get any worse than a Category 1 tropical storm, whatever. I've got no concerns. I've been in Florida since 1996. Category 1 is not going to faze me. So, that's it. Take care. Good night. And we are the Pro Pat family. We are the family. And I appreciate each and every single one of you. All the positivity that you've extended in my own darkest times. I can only hope to return the favor.